Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the channel. Oh my god, it's been forever. Just kidding, it hasn't. I just posted a video like 4 days ago. But the grind never stops. You hear me? If you're new to the channel, I'm Alexa. I do movie reviews here, and today we're going to be talking about the movie Don Jon, a movie that came out in 2013, directed, written, and also starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt. This movie actually was his debut film. It came out in 2013, and I feel like the time that it came out, people completely misunderstood what this movie was actually really about. It looks like it's about porn, hookups, and a bunch of gym bros, but actually it's about loneliness. It's about the disconnect between fantasy and real intimacy. This movie is about societal pressure that young men endure, grief, ego, and how we as people are starving for a real connection. And today we're going to be walking through exactly what happens in this movie and why it still hits so hard over a decade later. Let's get into it. We open with a montage. Ads, porn, media, sex. I am overstimulated with how much shit is going on right now. There's way too much happening at this moment. John, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, narrates over the whole thing, proudly proclaiming the things that matter most to him.
My body, my pad, my ride, my family, my church, my boys, my girls, and my porn.
Right away, we're in John's world. He's a modern-day Jersey boy, nightclub legend, bench-pressing Catholic, and a massive porn addict. Here's the thing. John doesn't think that he has a problem. He's convinced himself that what he does every single day is completely normal, whatever you want to call it. He thinks that porn is better than real sex. Even though he hooks up with real women, quite often actually, he still prefers his laptop. Why? Because he loses himself in it. All the rest of the bullshit fades away. It gives him total control, no expectations, and no emotional effort at that point. We meet his family, loud, Catholic, and obsessed with Sunday dinners and football. His dad, John Sr., played by Tony Danza, is basically John in 30 years. Twin. He's aggressive, authoritative, and he's kind of that typical, like, alpha male.
I need you to do the easiest fucking thing and you can't do it.
At least I know what a fucking TiVo is.
He is the epitome of toxic masculinity. He fucking sucks, okay? He's literally the worst. And also a fucking deadbeat dad. Like, can he just be nice to his son? Like one time. His mom, Angela, played by Glenn Headley, plays the doting housewife that you barely see in the shots because she is constantly in the kitchen out of frame. Like, always. She puts the pressure on John to settle down and find himself a nice girl.
One of these days I'm gonna sit down here and start eating, and you're gonna say, Mom, I found her. One of these days.
As the embodiment of societal expectations that as a man, John needs to marry and have a family so that he may carry on his family's legacy. Like, no pressure at all. His sister Monica, played by Brie Larson, is always silently scrolling on her phone until she isn't, but we're not going to talk about that just yet. We'll get there. Now let's talk about John's friends. We meet Bobby and Danny, who are actually John's childhood best friends. And even though they come off as like the very like alpha podcast bro, if you actually listen to the way that they interact with John, you'll notice that they actually care about him and like that they are actually good friends. Bobby, played by Rob Brown, is the voice of reason for John. He's always the first person to call John out on his bullshit, whether John notices or not. But he sees right through John, but he waits patiently for John to be ready to talk about anything. So, great friend. Actually love him. And then Danny, played by Jeremy Luke, is our certified short king. We love that. He's the loving, affectionate one, or at least as loving and affectionate as you can get in this like super bro-y relationship. You know, it's not like girls. It's like dudes, like bros, you know.
Two bros chilling in the hot tub, 5 feet apart because they're not gay.
When we meet him for the first time, John actually comes into frame, and the first thing that Danny asks him is like, you doing okay, bro? Are you doing all right? Like, look at me. You doing all right?
You good?
Yeah, am I right?
Johnny, look at me. Is everything good with you?
What's the matter with you?
And John just kind of brushes him off, but like, that's a good man. He notices. Like, I think he realizes that like something was going on with John beforehand, so I see you. I see you, Danny. Danny is the only one in the group that actually isn't to like the conventionally attractive woman, and he's always the butt of the joke with the guys because of this, but he always stands by his own reasons. He's still objectifying these women 99.99999% of the time, but we don't have time to talk about that right now. This movie is about John. And then comes Barbara. Barbara. Ooh. I kind of ate that. Played by the amazing Scarlett Johansson, a stunning, hyper-feminine, rom-com loving dream girl. She is the walking personification of femininity. She is actually the first woman that Jon chases and doesn't just try to score. Listen, she's hot. She wears pink, and she knows how to play the game of love, my guy.
Well, you don't think I could make you happy if I wanted to?
She's the exact type of girl that Jon should be with, right? Even the movie tells us that, shining a giant spotlight on her. Now, we can't talk about the movie without talking about the lighting, because the lighting has to be the most crucial part of seeing Jon's emotions. For example, every time that Jon watches porn, the lighting is really sterile. Harsh whites, cold blues, it's mechanical, fast, all-encompassing. It's really intense. It's not fun. And then contrast that with the nights out. Neon club lights, hyper-saturated blues. It's seductive, yes, but also really lonely. When he meets Barbara, there's a spotlight on her, and it is literally indicating that she is the star of the show at this point, and that Jon's whole world is just going to become Barbara at this point. He is just someone who's lucky enough to be in her limelight. He seems to always be in her shadow, but not her equal. The color pattern tells us exactly how Jon is feeling, even if Jon doesn't know that's how he's feeling. From all of the blues that he wears, indicating loneliness and masculinity, to the barrage of pink that Barbara wears all the time, indicating innocence and femininity. And when he meets Esther, played by Julianne Moore, the entire color palette just shifts. Suddenly we get golden hour lighting, soft focus, and more neutral colors. And then there's the music. The movie opens with a gentle melody and then slowly starts to build its way up to a high energy beat. More of that flash in your face, aggressive, kind of winding us into like an almost hypnotic sound as the words Don Jon start flashing on the screen. It's showing us that we're going to come back full circle, or almost like a...
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
So, it will come back. The first half of the film slaps you with pop tracks, club beats, high energy sounds. It's loud, obsessive, always on, just like Jon. But then when the real connection starts to creep in, that's when you hear silence, or jazz, or a little bit of a acoustic, kind of vibe to it. It's no accident. The movie is literally quieting down to make room for something real. Let's talk about what Jon's actually going through. Because for a movie that opens up objectifying women and muscle shots, Don Jon is deeply concerned with toxic masculinity. Jon isn't just a guy that likes porn. He's a guy that has been taught that porn, domination, and surface level conquests are the only ways to be a man. And when he tries to do what is considered by society romantic for Barbara, it's still performative. Jon's obsession switches from porn to Barbara. He starts cleaning up his act for her, stops hooking up with random. He tells her that he stopped watching porn completely, which he didn't at all. Barbara, meanwhile, is trying to mold Jon into this perfect fantasy man that she has envisioned for herself. She's not into his friends. She hates that he cleans his own apartment, which genuinely is so fucking shocking to me. Like, we're gonna talk about this scene soon, but there's a point where she flips her shit that he cleans his own apartment. Bitch. Have you seen a man's house, a man's room, a man's bathroom? Count your fucking days, bitch, you ungrateful mother... Jesus, I think I just blacked out for a moment. And when she catches him watching porn, it is game over. She's got her own version of fantasy. The rom-com blueprint. Marriage control and a man that only exists to worship her. So then we get this devastating parallel between them. Jon is addicted to porn fantasy and Barbara is addicted to romance fantasy. They don't actually know each other. They're both just trying to form this perfect person that they want from each other. And they're wondering why they're not fitting that mold. So now we've got two characters that are both craving intimacy and are not at all budging on what they want from that. Jon thinks that sex equals connection and Barbara thinks that love equals control. Barbara starts taking over everything that's important to Jon, from his car, his friends, his gym, his family, everything just completely takes over it. And this is where the movie actually takes a tonal shift. So at a community college that Jon is going to, yes, Jon is taking some night classes to please Barbara. He meets Esther. Esther is empathy incarnate. Truly, she is like a beautiful soul. I mean, she literally just wears her heart on her sleeve. She does not steer away from feeling her feelings. And that is absolutely atrocious to Jon because Jon, as someone who totally avoids his own feelings and doesn't have feelings, does not want to see a woman like that at all. Or anybody like that, really. So she's older, emotionally raw. She's immediately different from everybody else that Jon has ever met. And their first conversation is really awkward. She's actually actually crying in a doorway, and John is trying to like determine how he's gonna like avoid her but also walk by her because he needs to get through the door. So it's really awkward, but
Oh, Jesus Christ!
After that, she just keeps popping up. Like, as much as he tries to avoid her, like, she just keeps coming up. Esther does something that nobody else in the movie does. She sees John. She talks to him and she's honest with him. She doesn't shame him, even though she definitely caught him watching porn in class and didn't freak out. Sir, that's really weird. Don't do that. Please don't do that. She doesn't worship him. She just talks openly and honestly. She talks about loss, real sex, emotional vulnerability, all the things that John has been trying to avoid this whole time. She is liberation from the societal toxicity that John has been conditioned to know so well. But he literally starts feeling again.
Help me! I'm feeling.
It opens up something inside. This is where the movie becomes more than just a clever commentary on sex and screens. John isn't a bad guy. He's just a conditioned guy. He's conditioned by his father, men, society, the church, even Barbara, to live his life as this like hyper masculine dude, basically. Every time he fails, he just retreats back to the fantasy again, which is his porn addiction. Esther becomes the first person to offer him something that no one has ever asked of him, which is a relationship that requires emotional presence and not perfection. It startles him a lot, like it really like jolts him awake, but it frees him. So let's cut back to John and Barbara for a little bit here. At this point in the film, you now see that Barbara has kind of taken over John's entire life, all of the things that were important to him. His body, his car, his friends, his ride, his house, just everything. Literally everything she's taken over. Now that John has held her on this pedestal for so long and has waited so long and waited so patiently for her to actually hook up with him, he thinks it's going to be the best in the world because of the fact that he waited so long for her. He realizes that after all of this time of doing what he's supposed to do, that when he does have sex with Barbara, that it's literally just like any other time that he's slept with anybody else, that he still likes porn better. He's trying to convince himself and the people around him that he's in the perfect relationship and everything is going wonderfully and that he is just so happy and couldn't be happier and that he's exactly where he's supposed to be. John is having a conversation with his boys about this at this point, and you can see him just feeding himself the delusion.
You be a man, you do the right thing, you find the right girl, and you treat her the right way. Watch what happens. Best sex of your life.
He's just lying through his fucking teeth. I mean, Jesus Christ. He tells his family that he's in love with Barbara, knowing damn well that he's not in love with Barbara. I mean, I think they were together maybe a month at this point. Mind you, not saying that you can't be in love with someone after a month. I'm just saying that these two were definitely not in love after a month, okay? Because they already have an idea of what they want for their son, they don't even question it whatsoever, and his mom is jumping for joy, and his dad is praising him for being a man and basically treating him his own age and not like a child anymore, so that's pretty nice. But continuing to sometime later, the cracks in the relationship start to appear. Porn is taking over John's every single thought. Specifically at a dinner scene of him and Barbara when they went out, they're just having casual conversation about a friend of hers and her friend's relationship problem, and her talking about John possibly working once he gets out of school in like business or something or whatever. But he is just the entire time just thinking about a porn, just the whole entire time. It's just flashing in your face the whole time. I obviously can't show you that part, but like whatever you can imagine, that's what's happening. And it's probably worse. It's so aggressive. Another moment is when the two of them actually go curtain shopping for Barbara. And this is the first time that you don't see the usual lighting that they have for each other, which means that the cameras are off and that reality is set in. So there's no longer like a spotlight on Barbara anymore. It's just like normal store fluorescent lights, which is very reality set. John tries to express the importance of him cleaning his own home to Barbara, and she is absolutely disgusted by this. For some reason, I genuinely cannot comprehend why she was so grossed out at the fact that he cleans his own space. I'm actually still on that. I've watched this movie, I shit you not, 50 times, and I'm still hung up on that. There's no way she's got a problem with that. Anyway, because this isn't the version of a man that Barbara sees herself with, she just immediately shuts it down. And even though he tries to tell her how important it is to her, she tells him, no, I'm not talking about this. We're done.
There's only a few things I really care about.
We're not talking about this anymore.
And that's it. That's just like how the relationship is. After they slept together the first time, Barbara had actually caught Jon in the act of watching porn afterward and has a visceral reaction. And to be honest, it probably parallels into the fact that Jon might be feeling some internal guilt. He's got to feel a little bit of internal guilt, right? Like, I know it was like pushed upon him to like do this his entire life, but like he's also Catholic. Like, I think there's a little bit of Catholic guilt there. So there's actually literally a point where the camera is behind Jon's laptop, and you can see it like as she comes out and turns on the light and goes like, what the fuck are you doing? The camera like jolts up like this, like, oh fuck, like we got to like get back on, lights, camera, action, let's go. Like it immediately puts the show back on. Like there's no, like it was like, oh shit, like they caught us slipping for a second, like we need to get back to normal. And I think that was actually a really nice little detail. I love that. He lied and told her that it was just a joke, that one of his buddies had emailed him this like porno site or whatever, and that he would never look at that and that he wasn't going to do it again. And she believes him. So she just goes right back to feeding into her own delusion and just slips back into the romance fantasy that she is so badly trying to make work. So now, because of that, he is now consuming more pornography than usual, like literally double the amount, because now he's like watching it on his phone. I think that's it. I think he's watching it on his phone. So it's like, but everywhere he goes, he's just watching it on his phone. I mean, driving, in class, fucking at church, I'm sure, like crazy. Just an amount of, it's insane. Barbara unfortunately catches him in the lie again because she had looked at his computer history and saw that he looked at 46 porno sites in one day. One singular day, he looked at 46 porno sites. Jon, I hate to tell you this, but you have a problem, buddy. Do I know that's the point of the movie? Yes, but still, you got a problem, dude. That's not good.
Stop it. Get some help.
I don't kink shame, but still, good God. So anyway, when she catches him through his computer history, she talks about how disgusting he is. And she like asks him like, how could you do something like that? And when he finally like has the open floor to like talk about his problem and to maybe seek some help, she just completely ignores it and just tells him how disgusting of a human being he is and leaves him. So that's nice. But that's when he starts to spiral into his addiction further. He talks about how happy he is now that Barbara is gone. Obviously he's not, because you kind of just see, like you hear his narration, but then you just see everything falling apart behind him. Like there's just like food boxes in his room. His bed is disheveled, which, mind you, we know that he is a huge cleaner and loves taking care of his space. So we know that when it is going downhill like that, that he is not doing well mentally. And we've all been there. We've all had to clean a depression room, haven't we? Unless you are somehow like totally healthy in the brain, which like I can't imagine that anybody is. That's crazy. What a crazy concept to have a normal, healthy working brain. Okay, sure.
You know, when I have great fucking days like this, it just reminds me how much I love being single.
Anyway, everything around him is kind of falling apart, but he ends up going back to school and running into Esther and finds comfort in her. They actually go hook up in her car, so get it, Esther. And she starts to open his eyes about what's really going on with him. So Jon and Esther share a very intimate conversation after hooking up in her car. And this allows Jon to have a safe space for him to talk about his life and what he's experienced in his life.
Just porn, huh?
Yeah.
I don't buy it. Was it just once? Oh. So she caught you once, which is why you're watching it on your phone at school, because you're hiding it from her. Then she caught you the second time. I don't know. Am I right? I'm just guessing, but...
She asked him when was the last time that he had gone a day without watching porn, and he hesitantly admits that he doesn't remember a time when he's never like watched and or looked at some form of porn in his life. So that shows that he was shown this at a very early and impressionable age, likely by his dad and or the guys that he had hung out with in his life.
But what is it? What do you get from porn that you don't get from sex with an actual person?
I lose myself.
You lose yourself.
Yeah, just goodbye.
And that doesn't happen when you have sex.
I wish it did.
So Esther challenges him to self-service himself without the help of pornography. He accepts the challenge, actually. To his detriment, he is unsuccessful at completion. That's probably the nicest way that I could put that. I'm so sorry.
That's like a junkie. They couldn't stop. I could stop if I wanted to. I could.
He tells Esther that he was unsuccessful and that he didn't realize how bad this problem had gotten. She decides to be open and honest with him and explain why he may be experiencing some of these things. How what Jon doesn't understand with intimacy is that it is not about perfection, it's about presence, and he wants to lose himself in somebody. She says,
You said that you want to lose yourself in sex. If you want to lose yourself, you have to lose yourself in another person. And she has to lose herself in you. It's a two-way thing.
And that really made him realize what was going on. So she unfortunately cut a little too deep and hurt his feelings a little bit, but he's okay. He's not mad or anything. She tries to make him feel better by running him a bath. And real quick, this shot of him in the bath is kind of like an image of him being reborn, his baptism, basically. I like too that they have the cross necklace that he's wearing at that point, because after he comes out of this bath, genuinely he comes out a completely different person. Unfortunately, Esther never makes it into the bath with him. She becomes really overcome with the sadness that she has been battling thus far in the film. And when Jon comes out, he checks in with her and asks her what happened and what is going on, which is really great, actually, because now he's outwardly trying to comfort her and cares about her emotions versus before the first time he met her, where he was vividly disgusted and viscerally disgusted and was trying to avoid. But she confesses that 14 months prior, she had lost her husband and her son to a car accident. Jon understands, and now that they have shown, or now that they've shared those vulnerabilities with each other, it allows them to share that intimacy that they have craved so badly throughout this film. They finally found that connection that they've been looking for. So a little bit of time passes, and you can see that Jon is actively trying to make a change in his life, in his daily activities that he likes to do. For example, he goes and plays basketball with people at the gym instead of going to lift alone. Or he goes out to get pizza with his buddies after the bar instead of going home with a random girl. Or he's singing in his car instead of busting people's windows out like a psycho. Good God, dude. Jon breaks things off completely with Barbara. Not dramatically, just honestly. He just stops pretending and stops lying. He also stands up for himself at a certain point and tells Barbara that she did ask for a lot more than she was insinuating that she did.
I asked you to do one thing for me.
You know, I was thinking about that when you said it before.
Well, I said it because it's true.
It's not true.
Really?
You didn't only ask me for one thing. You asked for a lot of different things, and then I couldn't do it all for you.
Well, when a real man loves a woman, he doesn't mind doing things for her. All right? He'll do anything for her.
And that she too was wrong in the relationship, just so that she has the opportunity to better herself. You know, he had the honor of being able to receive kind of that tough love or that short end of the stick at that point to do better. But now look at him, he's doing better. So he wants to try to reciprocate that to Barbara and tell her, hey, girl, it's not really cool. And you're not going to be very successful in finding love if you keep doing that, because it's not very nice. Even the colors start making a comeback in this scene with the two of them. For example, Jon is wearing purple, which stands for transformation and individuality, versus Barbara, who is now wearing blue, which stands for the loneliness that she still feels. She outwardly rejects Jon's apology and unfortunately tells him that he's not capable of love and he will never be capable of love. So
you're not capable of a relationship, Jon. You're not.
I'm not.
Because you're a selfish person and you're a liar.
Yeah, I was.
He just takes it, though, just knowing that he's actively trying to make a change and make a difference in his life and do better, which is good. You know what? Stay mad, ho. I don't care. He also opens up to his family about the fact that him and Barbara broke up, which his parents immediately start freaking out because, of course they do, because why wouldn't they? He tries to tell them about how they weren't happy with each other, but his mom, Angela, is just sobbing as if he just told her that someone fucking died, you know? And his dad, Jon Sr., is just being the same fucking shithead asshole dad that he's been this entire fucking time. Fuck this guy, he sucks. He tries to tell him how stupid he is and how he needs to go find Barbara again because as a man, having a family is the greatest thing that he could ever do. And
what the fuck is the matter with you?
I don't know.
Having a family is the greatest joy in a man's life. Everybody knows that.
Well, then maybe I'm not a man. Okay.
It just kind of is what it is. But Monica, who has been silent this entire film, finally decides to open up and tell them exactly what Barbara was actually doing and speak some fucking truth.
What are you saying?
All I'm saying is, that girl, she has her own agenda. She doesn't care about Johnny. She didn't know the first thing about him. She just wants a guy who's gonna do whatever she tells him to. It is a good thing that she broke up with you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Go off, Queen Monica. You are so and I love that for you. You talk your shit and stand on business, okay? You stand up for your brother, and I appreciate that. This finally shuts his parents up, and now Jon can just be himself for once. Even though it's not a happily ever after ending, it's more real and grounded. They give each other the intimacy that they craved, and Jon even starts making eye contact during sex, which he admits that he has never done before. So good on you, Jon. They share a patient and slow kind of love, allowing life to take them where it naturally progresses without the expectation of societal pressures weighing on them. They are truly free. Don Jon is just one of those movies that is a much deeper meaning hidden inside of a very flashy exterior. It's not about porn. It's not about women. It's about how hard it is to be vulnerable and how everything around you, when everything around you tells you to be strong and stoic and in control all the time. It's about letting go of the script and choosing something real instead. It's about something universal, a deep, aching human need for us to be seen. Not worshipped, not fantasized, not idolized. Seen. Truly seen. After the world shut down with the pandemic and social media taking over a lot of our daily interactions, movies like this are just so important because it reminds us as people that we need that connection. We need to be vulnerable with people, and we need to talk to people about the things that we're feeling so that we're not just bottling it up inside, you know? This film opens up your eyes to the world around you, that no matter the person, we're all searching for that one thing, and how we crave authenticity. If you haven't rewatched Don Jon since high school, rewatch it again with new eyes and watch it for the color shifts, watch it for the silence, watch it for the emotional whiplash that you feel. Maybe, just maybe, it might actually give you a greater appreciation of what it means to be human. Take some time out of your day today. Put down the phone, go touch some grass, tell your family and your friends that you love them, and take a deep breath and remember that everything's going to be okay. Well, thank you for watching, guys. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more movie breakdowns. And if there's any movies that you would like me to watch or talk about, just put them in the comments below here. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Queen Monica, talk your shit and leave no crumbs. Go off. Go off. That's so aggressive. Oh my God. Go off. I think it's a funny joke to call men sluts, but I know that some people take offense to that, so I don't want to be rude, so I won't say it anymore. I probably will, but I won't. But I will. But I won't. I'm not a man apologist. Do you hear me? I'm not a man apologist.